Hey there, Scorpio. Welcome to your reading for this is your August bonus reading, and we're gonna jump right in here. You have this fork in the road card and this higher power card. So clearly, Scorpio, you have some sort of choice or a decision to make at this time, and I feel like the choice is simple. You have the Nine of Swords, and so the Nine of Swords is a never-ending nightmare. And some of you could be feeling stuck, but I have a feeling the reading is gonna say, well, actually, you're not stuck. It's time to kind of like change direction. Or here you go, right here. You cannot make that up. I literally just said change direction, and you have the Wheel of Fortune, which is changing direction. So I feel for a lot of you that you could be kind of releasing something from your life with that Nine of Swords, and you could be heading in a much more fortunate direction is kind of what I feel here. So that's a good thing. You know, the Fork in the Road card, I'll show you right now. This card, it's like there's this glowing path behind this llama that has antlers for some reason, and there's a monkey there as well. And it's like I feel like one part of your journey, you already know kind of like what's down that path. You know, it's like a repeat path, and I feel like this new direction is kind of like much better, obviously, and it's probably something that you're being guided to do in your life. And not only that, you have the Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Swords is like a never-ending nightmare. I always say that Nine of Swords is like having a nightmare, waking up, being stuck in a nightmare, just like a round type of situation. So the trick with the Nine of Swords is we have to get out of bed, right? We have to get out of that bed that he's sitting in. You know, the reason he's staying there is because he has this comfort blanket right here. So it's like he's in pain, but he's not in enough pain to make a change. And I always say that with the Nine of Swords, it's like the trick with the Nine of Swords is that you make the change before you get into enough pain that you are like forced to make a change, right? And so I think if you're wondering, like, should you leave a situation, or, you know, should you bring an end to something? I feel like this is saying before it gets worse, the answer is yes. But I'm not even really worried about it because you have the Wheel of Fortune in the area of your very near future. So it looks to me like you are making a change. I kind of feel there's a little bit of over analyzing something here. You know, you have the Seven of Cups as your crossing energy, and the Seven of Cups can be something that hurts you or helps you in the Celtic cross. And the Seven of Cups, he's kind of like dreaming of better times, or he's dreaming of a better future. But there are good things and bad things that are showing up in those cups. So he's kind of like imagining something that could be better, but he's also thinking about the bad things that could happen, which is always true. So instead of like just manifesting something new in his life, he's just dreaming about it, right? He's just stuck kind of like imagining what could potentially happen. The other thing that I think could be a little bit of a challenge here, and again, this is a good reading, so I don't want you to worry just yet, right? The other challenge here is the Ten of Wands. So the Ten of Wands is coming up in the area of what's on your mind. And having the Ten of Wands in the area of what, you know, what's on your mind or in your thoughts could say that you are thinking about all the work that you would have to do to change your situation, or you are thinking about all the different responsibilities that you have going on in your life right now. And I kind of feel like it's a mixture of two things, right? I think it's a mixture of both of those things that I just said. I think that some of you, you know, I think you kind of have like a lot going on. You have a lot of responsibility that you are taking care of right now. And I also think that you are thinking that to change your life or to improve it, going this direction, that there are going to be even more things that you're going to have to do to create that change, right? And so it's kind of like that overwhelmed feeling when it's like you kind of dream about something. Maybe you get excited about the potential of new ideas and new directions in your life, but then once that happens, then you start thinking about all the work you have to do and all the work that you're going to have to do. In the area of your foundation, you have the Eight of Swords. So this is kind of like our first solution that really shows up here. And the first solution being the Eight of Swords, I feel it's saying that you are not stuck. You know, the Eight of Swords says that you could be keeping yourself in this self-imposed prison or the self-imposed restriction, but there are many solutions to any problem that you could be dealing with. So the simple solution with the Eight of Swords is to realize that there are many ways that you can do pretty much anything that you want to do in your life, but you could be focusing only on one way to do things when there are many. And so again, there are probably solutions that you're not looking at yet. Part of the other part of the solution here is to trust your intuition. With the 8 of Swords, she has this blindfold on, and kind of like the blindfold in the tarot represents needing to tap into your intuition or trust your intuition. The other thing about her is that she's standing in this like very shallow pool of water, and it kind of represents shallow emotions, and it kind of says she's making a bigger deal out of something than it is. And so I'm not calling you out here, Scorpio, but again, you maybe your situation, it might seem like dire on the surface, or it might seem like there's a lot of work to do, but I kind of feel like when you get started, it's actually going to be easier than you think. So again, I think things are moving in a positive direction, or they're about to, with the Wheel of Fortune showing up here. We also have another clue, the 7 of Swords. And so the 7 of Swords, a lot of people read it as lying, cheating, stealing. But the true meaning of the 7 of Swords is that he is stealing those swords from an army in the background. And so he is going to war, but he's doing it in a different way. He's not having to hurt or kill anyone just by stealing those swords and walking away with the sword. So they can't use those swords in battle. And so it's another card that says there are probably better ways for you to do things in your life. And, it just says if you do a little research, or if you educate yourself on whatever you're trying to change or work on in your life, you might find really an amazing solution. You have the King of Wands here, and the King of Wands coming up in the past position. And sorry, I forgot to pull your Oracle cards. I'll show you those in a minute. But the King of Wands is about like needing to be bold and assertive. He's also kind of like a visionary. I get this weird feeling of kind of like being smacked down. It's like maybe in the past you had a situation where you were like overly confident and things in something, and since things didn't work out, it's almost like you were smacked down. That's how I hope that makes sense. That's how I'm seeing it in my head, where it's like sometimes we do something, we are overly confident, and then it really doesn't work out, or maybe we feel like we were getting punished for doing something, like taking a risk in business, or taking a risk in love. So I get that feeling of that, like having felt like you were smacked down. And the reason this is a problem is because moving forward in the future, anytime you want to take a risk, it's like you think back to that time where things really didn't work out, and it kind of makes you shrivel up or think that you can't do something. So I think that, but the good news is it's coming up in the past, so I feel like you're moving past that type of energy. You have the Salmon card, says sagacity, new ideas, divination. You also have this Echidna. It says homebody, distinctiveness, and danger sense. So I think that, again, that you could have some new ideas. And the Echidna says, number one, you definitely need to trust your senses, right? And you definitely need to make sure that you're not entering, that you're protecting yourself from danger. But I also kind of feel like there is a new idea or a new direction coming in for you that is not going to be dangerous, or is not going to have the same result. Next, in the area of your very near future, you have this Crafter. It says a talent is just waiting for you to to be expressed by your hands. It says start a small business at home by creating novelties by hand. You have this Leadership card. It says you're stepping into a role as a leader. You are ready. Your career will improve once you accept and step into your power. So I think that, again, really, that this reading is kind of like a challenge to you to step up into a leadership role, or to take another risk on something that really kind of like extra didn't work out in the past, right? And so I feel like that's what this is saying. And I always tell a story. Like for years ago, when I was younger, I had a very successful business. It failed, and after it failed, I like sat in my room for 4 years, a little bit longer, and I basically did nothing, right? And really, it's not true, because I tried to relaunch a lot of businesses, and there's a lot of reasons why that didn't work, right? Based off the way I was doing it. But I got to this point where I had this like weird cycle happen in my life, where I would get like negative $800 in my bank account, literally almost to the cent every single time. And every single time that I would get, that negative 800, I would always make it somehow, or like I would always make it back somehow. But it's like, it was like this cycle that kept repeating. And so that was my spiritual smackdown, right? It's like, everything I tried, I would end up going negative, right? And things really wouldn't work. And it's almost like at that time, I felt like the universe was punishing me. And so I feel like it's important that I tell you that, because like, I feel like some of you are in that position. And so what happened to me is I started coming up with ideas right here. I started coming up with new ideas that probably would have worked, and but I would get to this, I would just overthink them. I wouldn't even get started on the idea because I was going back to, getting smacked down every single time that I did something, right? And it's like something I had to learn to overcome. And, eventually what happened is that I got smacked down so many times, I got immune to the smacks, right? And I just didn't care anymore. And eventually that led to this channel, and it led to other businesses that I now have. But, it's kind of like one of those things. I don't recommend it, but it was kind of like exposure therapy in a lot of ways, because eventually I just did it so many times I stopped caring about it, which probably isn't that great, right? There were probably better ways to do it. But again, I kind of feel like this is saying that, yeah, you have been smacked down, but things are about to change. Things are about to get better, and things will not always stay the same. So the Wheel of Fortune is coming up in your very near future, and this kind of says that your fortunes are turning in your favor. And I definitely feel that here for you, Scorpio. I feel that your fortunes are turning in your favor with the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune kind of says we have a choice. We can live on the outside of the wheel, and I call that the washing machine of life, because when you're on the outside of the wheel, you're just kind of getting tossed around in whatever direction. Or we can live on the inside of the wheel, and we can see things as they come and go in our life. We can see the good things as they're coming, and we can double down on those good things. We can also see the bad things that are coming into our lives, and we can take care of those things quicker. So, I think that it's important when something pops up that you don't ignore it. The faster you take care of it, the faster you get rid of it, and you prevent it from turning into a monster, right? I'm a Pisces. I'm avoidant, right? Pisces is notorious for like ignoring problems in their life. And I can tell you every problem I've ever ignored, it always gets bigger and worse, right? But again, there's also the opposite direction where when good things happen, you also want to double down on those good things and kind of repeat the successes. And when we do that with the Wheel of Fortune, that is how we change our fortunes. And that's what I would do here. Next, over the next few months, we're going to start here. You have this cow spirit, says miracles are endless. Love it. You have this frog spirit, says clear out the clutter. Not to talk about myself too much in your readings, but, I had to get rid of everything because I just moved, and they wouldn't deliver my pod, right, to my house. And when the first time I moved there, my old house, they delivered the pod, no problem, but for some reason they gave me a hassle. So I just threw everything away. And, now that I've moved here to this new place, I really haven't gotten anything new. And you know what? It's pretty great. There's no clutter, there's no crap laying around, and it's been great just living as a minimalist all of a sudden, right? And so, yeah, I'm kind of like a big fan of clearing out the clutter. I think it frees up the energy. It definitely has for me, and I think it would be a great idea for you. Next, over the next few months, you have the Judgment card. So I feel like you are literally going through some sort of awakening, or maybe you are awakening to your true power or what you're capable of. You have several cards here that kind of say that. I mean, the Leadership card says you're stepping into a role as a leader, you are ready. So, and you also have this card that says your career will improve once you accept and step into your power. So I feel like this Judgment card is deeper than just like finding your purpose. I think this is you stepping into your power and taking control of your life. Next, in the area of your closest relationships, this is all relationships, not just love. You have the Sun. Of course, the Sun is the best card in the tarot, so I think you could be finding, a lot of support in your relationships, meaning all the people that you deal with. And so the Sun is great. The Sun could say you're getting a lot of attention. People are supporting you. They're lifting you up. And so I just feel, really, I don't feel much other than just positive relationship interactions. Over the next, in the area of your future feelings, you have the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords can represent feeling like you're sneaking around or feeling like you're having to tiptoe around things, right? He is doing something very carefully. He is carrying those swords by their tips, and which is very dangerous. I don't recommend it, right? And he is having to do something kind of like delicately. And I do get that energy for you where it's like maybe you feel like you're in a delicate time, or like you are having to be more, careful about the steps that you take. I kind of like, on one hand, I don't like this. On the other hand, I do like it. So I'm very split in how I feel about this energy for you. It's like, on one hand, I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing to be careful about the things that you're doing and to pay attention. But I would, on the other hand, I would also say, make sure that you're not being like too paranoid. Like, I think we can be too careful, and then if we're too careful, we can squeeze those swords too tightly and we cut ourselves, right? So I think there's a delicate balance that's going on with the Seven of Swords. It's like, on one hand, it's like maybe you are in a process of building something in your life, and maybe you do have to handle it delicately. Like if you're building a business or a career, it's like you do have to watch your step. But on the other hand, again, I wouldn't be too paranoid, and I would try to just balance that energy. You have the Nine of Pentacles as your outcome. Nine of Pentacles is about creating heaven on earth. So I believe that we're in a time where we need to create heaven on earth. There's a lot of bad things going on in the world, war, things like that. And so we need to move, as spiritual people, I believe that we need to move in an opposite direction. We need to, create something great and to change the energy. And so I would do whatever you can to, bring your own idea of creating a little slice of heaven down on earth. But this is also pre-Empress energy. So I think that for a lot of you, you're creating abundance. Nine of Pentacles is about gratitude and luxuries as well. So a great way to double down on the good stuff with that Wheel of Fortune is to just express gratitude for the things that you do have. With the Nine of Swords and the Seven of Cups, you have the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, Three of Pentacles says teamwork makes the dream work. So finding good people to work with would be a good idea. The other thing is, she has polka dots on her cloak, and he has polka dots on his cloak on the Seven of Swords. Polka dots in the tarot can represent taking things too seriously. So while I think that there is a serious energy in your reading, I would make sure that you're creating balance. Again, if you take things too seriously, that can also be a problem. So again, I would play, have more fun. The polka dots in the tarot can represent needing to go out and do something fun or enjoy yourself or whatever. With the Ten of Wands, you have the Hangman. Yeah, I really like this energy for you because I feel like you are being enlightened to other ways of doing things, with the Eight of Swords as well. This is basically saying that you have been hanging in hangman mode, maybe you've been a little bit stuck, but I feel like you have gained the enlightenment. And we see enlightenment twice as well. The Sun also can represent enlightenment. With the Eight of Swords, you have the Five of Cups. Yes, it's like gratitude, right? The solution to the Five of Cups is to be grateful for these two cups, and then you get this bridge and the castle. So, like I said, I feel like there was some sort of spiritual smackdown here. I don't know what else to call it. And maybe you have regrets about something you did. But at the same time, I feel like there's something much better behind you, and that's what you need to focus on, is like what you do have. With the King of Wands, you have the Two of Cups. So again, it could be a love situation. It's like maybe you had a love situation, now you're crying over spilt milk, but there's also two cups behind him. So he could be discovering a new connection, or he could get into a new connection by releasing the old one. But this also doesn't have to be love. Again, the Two of Cups can be you and your higher self. And when I was stuck for those years, I definitely felt there were times where I felt like I was being guided to do something, and then it really didn't work, or I felt like I was getting punished because I was $800 negative in my bank account, right? And so like I felt like I was getting punished, even though I felt like I was led in a direction. And I kind of feel that here. Again, I feel very similar energy in this area of the reading, where it's like you felt led in a direction, and then something didn't work out, and almost feels like you were being punished, and now it's time to again move forward to something new. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Six of Wands. I kind of just feel like the Six of Wands is confirmation that the Wheel of Fortune is trying to get you to change your fortunes. Six of Wands is success. Yep, with the Judgment card, you have the Ace of Swords, which is a victory and success. So I feel like there could be a big victory or big success coming in for you. The other thing about this is that the Judgment card, these people are standing in these coffins, and the coffin represents their old life. Outside the coffin is their new life. And so they are being encouraged to completely cut away from the old life, which the Ace of Swords also could represent you cutting out the old life and kind of like stepping into a new life. With the Sun, you have the Four of Swords. Yep, Mercury Retrograde this month, so everybody gets the Four of Swords during retrograde reading. So rest, relax, recover, heal, take care of yourself. With the Seven of Swords, you have the King of Wands. You have the King of Wands twice. And again, maybe you're seeing how a past person was a liar, cheater, stealer, or maybe a past person was sneaky, or whatever the case may be. I kind of also feel that the King of Wands is saying you are becoming more like bold and assertive, and you're taking more action on the Nine of Pentacles. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Ace of Wands, which is amazing. The Ace of Wands is out with the old, in with the new. And so clearly you are, going to be experiencing or having some sort of new beginning here, or you're creating a new beginning. And, obviously that would be a good thing. You have this acquisition card. So I feel this is my fancy couple card, and you could be attracting like a new person into your life. So that's nice. There's not like a ton of love here, but again, that doesn't mean you're not going to meet a person. So there definitely could be a new person here. You have this patience card, which is also like a fancy couple card. So I definitely feel some of you could be attracting a new person if that's what you're into. And, again, it could be definitely a good connection for you. Next, you have this organization card. I think it's a great time to get organized. Again, I think people think Mercury retrograde is a time of confusion, but really it's a time to get organized. During Mercury retrogrades, you can look at things that you're working on and reorganize whatever it is that you're doing. So I think it's a great time to do that. You have this convention card. Did we talk about convention? No. But, again, I think that convention is pretty much the enemy of progress right now. So convention is just the way things have always been done, right? And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing what works. But what it does mean is, I follow like the other 80-20 rule, which is, 80% of the time, do what has worked for you all along. But 20% of the time, it might be good to like experiment or try new ways of doing the things that you're creating in your life or working on, so that you can just find new ways to do things, so that you can create, success or abundance or whatever the case may be. And finally, you have this birth card. Clearly a rebirth going on in this reading, because you have the judgment card. So I feel for a lot of you that you are kind of rebirthing and things are looking up here, Scorpio. I think things are definitely improving. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.